There's a palace, I guess, at the head of the old city, and you see why these buildings are curved. That would be a nightmare for a carpenter to have to do that framing. But this is all masonry. I think the water originally came from this door. That's almost dead level, and there is a fortress at the end of that. Or else it came from that direction, which is slightly uphill. Down there is a river, and that's where I'm going to walk now. It's a little quieter now in the morning, so I'm going to take a look at another look at this market, Augustus Caesar market. It's not too old, I don't think, but I'm not sure. I think it's new. This is why I think it's new. There's a display in the middle of it that shows its reconstruction or its construction. I'm pretty sure I filmed this yesterday. This is an old Roman wall, I guess. Look, it's used pieces of other things to build the wall up. It would take some research on my part to explain this, but they've left it right here. It's a ruin. I see such a mix. I'm not sure if this helps any to explain it or not, beyond what I said without researching it. This is about 6 a.m. the city of Zaragoza. It'd be nice to be able to go in there, but I'm sure that's closed. That's that marvelous church that we were in yesterday in that far tower. One thing I like about this is you can see what they filled in with. Their mortar back in that day was so strong, has lasted so long. Well, this explains that feature a little bit more, or not. I'll just have to read about it, I guess. The river is just beside us, and so this was either a way as a drain or supply, probably a drain. And there's a bridge across that river, but the river's probably it's a good bit below the bridge. Well, I'll find out about it. This can give you some sense of the flow of the Rio Ebro, the Ebro River, I think that's the name of it, under that older bridge. I'm going to go under the bridge and see what things look like from there. I want to take a minute, though, to say that yesterday I'll wait until there's something more to watch. Okay, this is better. Rather than over the bridge, on the bridge, this is sort of under the bridge. What I was going to say about yesterday is that my camera had run out of, the two cameras I'm carrying had run out of memory, and so I didn't film any from Seville to Zaragoza. It was wonderful. I wouldn't have done that much filming, but a couple of things to say. I noticed some very, very low houses with barnyards attached to them, and very small. Seemingly, a man could not stand up in them. And I guess it's because sheep, they were for sheep, and the heat would have been from the sheep themselves. I would have filmed that. There was one part near Madrid where I saw that the cut that the train track had made glistened. It glistened like so many broken mirrors, tiny piece of broken mirrors. And sure enough, I looked, and there was mining in that area. I want to know what that was. It was so clear that there was something different about that soil. And then finally, I wanted to say that the idea of using the train as almost like watching a movie, for me, has worked so well. That was like a 5-hour movie yesterday. Today's going to be closer to a 12-hour movie. But it just so works if you're looking at details. I know virtually nothing about the history of this bridge yet. It appears to me to be very old. This is a look at the bank. This would be the natural flora, I guess, along the riverbank. Periodically floods, no doubt. And in my hand I have some of that cotton-like stuff, which makes me think that these might be cottonwoods. Now we're going to go back up into the city. This translates our neighbors, the birds of the Ebro. And out there on that little island are some birds. This is called La Bastille, like the Bastille in France. I don't know the history, not really. I can look it up, but I do think it's interesting to see what those towers that I just filmed look like if they're cut apart. For me, it's so interesting to see how the old meets the new. Roman, I assume, I don't know, Moorish, I assume. And then modern Spain, all meeting. This is what it looks like behind that fortress. I'm directly behind it now. I think it was a monastery for a while, which would explain the cross in brick, I guess. I don't think the Moors would have done that. I don't know. Nice brickwork though, and subtle. The differences in color are so subtle. And notice the tiling. I have become an enormous fan of tile, just not over wood. More of what's behind that fortress. But do you see the stork's nest up there on this steeple? A walled-in garden there, no doubt. I guess this is what the whole city, old city, would look like if it were stripped of its plaster. Brick, stone in the corners. Now this is a little different. There's a fresco, I'll call it a fresco, as part of the soffit. Brick laid in a pattern by offsetting it with tile mixed in, and again the soffit is it's not a fresco, it's not painted, but it's also been made decorative. Lovely stuff. Well, they certainly use long bricks here. These are the longest bricks I've ever seen. Up there you can see the way the roof is. I hope you can see it through the camera. Maybe if I step back, there won't be as much brightness. There, maybe you can see it better now. How the roof is framed. Or is that metal? I believe that's metal. That might be new. Yes, from here I think you can see that it's The supporting structure is steel. Didn't get into this one, we just didn't have time. This might help a little. Thermos, I think, are thermal baths, the Roman baths. I'll go see if I can find them. I've been criticized by several people that I move my camera too fast. Well, I'm trying to do better. But I do want to point out that you can pause. These are videos. And you can pause the camera and get pretty good stills, I think, I hope. I'm counting on it. Okay, here we go. This is Cesar Augustus, Teatro de Cesar Augustus, Julius, or Augustus Caesar's theater, Roman theater, the museum of it. That's better, even though I didn't get to get into the museum. Same place from a different angle. Let's just slowly walk around this just a little bit. Oh, what a wonderful excavation. Oh, look at that. I guess I'll maybe go to the front center. Not sure if you can see this with the camera or not. I don't use a zoom much. Well, I'm not even going to try. That's the outside, the way it would have looked, I guess. It was quite late in life that I learned that the Romans had invented concrete, or at least used concrete. That's Roman concrete. All of it, instead of being stone. What a beautiful excavation. And you know, it looks like the Romans left scratch marks between layers or something to maybe bind it better to the next layer. I don't know. And of course, here's the new meeting the old. These barriers are interesting. I guess you fill them full of sand so you could empty them and then use them again, or move them easy. I bet that's what's going on. They're paving, they're making a trolley system here, and I think it's so interesting to see how much is done by hand and so simply, and it's not very intrusive. I guess the fact that the frost doesn't go down far makes that possible. I guess what I mean about this paving is that I guess since it's all done by hand, and there doesn't seem to be very much mortar in it at all. You don't see bags of concrete around here. There's the saw. They saw the pieces, but they just lay it, and so it becomes, here's the interface between what I'm walking on and what the construction zone is, and yet it's for a trolley. Here's the finished product. Now we can see how the roof is, how the soffit is supported in this building. That's not steel. They like brown. I like brown. Diputación de Zaragoza, government building. It's pretty standard with these doors to have the big doors for letting horses, cars, whatever in, and inside the big door have little doors. I intend to do that in some places, maybe many places on my farm. Not sure why there's so much noise and shouting this morning. There was a big soccer game last night. Might have something to do with that. Barcelona, I'm pretty sure, beat Bilbao. The Spanish Copa del Rey, Cup of the King, the Spanish King's Cup. I was thinking about those brick arches there. I don't think they were ever made for windows or anything. I wonder if that was a way to just use not so much brick and make the walls maybe stronger with those arches than if you just laid solid brick. The same thing with those circles under the windows. Or maybe it was just for the love of decoration. Or both. Now the solution up there to the soft edge seems to be corbelled bricks. But here it's wood. Now that's interesting. But that's facade. I had to look at it close. At first I thought, my gosh, you mean this is also timber framed? I don't think. This is facade. And there it was decorated. These are not fancy buildings. This is in the old city, and you can tell by the narrowness of the street that this is this is a real thing. There's that tile mixed in with brick. I like the paving, but I think I'm ready to say that I do not like highly sculpted stone. Maybe I hope that doesn't really offend, but I don't. It's funny because I love Baroque music, but doing that kind of fancy stonework, I don't care for it. This is related to what I'm doing along the lane, actually. There's the paving going on right now. Not sure where. Oh, that's what they do. There we go. They mix it in place. I'm glad I got that. They lay the sand down, sprinkle Portland. Yep, Portland. And then wet it. That's what they lay the stone on. Big hammer, he taps them in place. Some guys have to make sure there's clearance. That's sand. Give you some idea of the texture of the mix. There's your saw, and where's he going with that? That's what they're doing. It's paved. That's grouting. That's grouting. That's what they're doing. Those guys have a kind of a rig to go along and push grout of some kind down into that crack, and the guy comes along after him sweeping it. This helps to explain things. There's a canal that goes around the whole city. There goes the canal. And at a certain point, some of the water is allowed to come down through the city. Okay, so it taps into the river way upstream somewhere, or maybe another river.